For me, we're actually taking market share from our competitors, and where we're actually gaining share a lot is in some of the acquisitions we've made. So I think embedding those acquisitions on the transformation and getting synergies from those businesses is where we're actually really seeing the value in the area I work in. So I've probably got rose-tinted spectacles on today, but we're taking share from competitors, so it means that the people I work with are pretty happy.
Wouldn't exactly say crisis. What crisis? I think you've got to define what you mean by crisis. I think we did have a crisis, particularly around liquidity in the UK, which has had the potential to do enormous damage. A lot of what else has happened over the last 3 or 4 years is actually just variations on an economic cycle. I think if I take our business, that we've got a lot of different businesses and they are in many different places on that economic cycle. If I take the totality of it, we've been fortunate in not perhaps seeing the impact, and where we've been based, of the sort of declines in demand that have come out of, that a number of other organisations have seen, and that clearly has led to discontinuities in businesses. I think if I look forward, I think the reality is that we're going to see for the economy as a whole, and certainly for our sector, a long, slow and quite painful path back to growth. And it's going to be slow. That gives opportunities to do things, but it isn't. I don't sense that we have any one big crisis that's going to have a macro effect on the economy, but it's going to be slow and very painful.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at Australia, didn't have a recession at all. Look at China, GDP growth of 10%, and people are moving jobs for 30% increase is the typical salary move. So in the UK, I think it's potentially the banking sector came back more quickly in 2010, and actually coming out of a recession, it's normally slower. Maybe we just had a very, very quick start in 2010, and now it's a bit more sluggish. But UK corporates, if you look at their balance sheets, are actually very strong. So it's more about, I think, appetite for risk and confidence.
The two sectors that I'm involved in are London property and the UK pub industry. And London property, looking forward, we are focused on growth. The economic dynamics of London are very different from the regions and attract capital flows internationally, and consumer demand is holding up well. By contrast, I think the pub industry has been through has been through a particular crisis driven by over-leveraged balance sheets. And also a faster moving and changing consumer environment than it's seen for a very long time. That industry, remains very cautious and is operating within, I think, assumptions of contracting consumer demand, or at least static consumer demand in the next couple of years.